You ever look at someone who earns about the same as you? Same kind of job, same city, same lifestyle on the surface. But somehow, quietly, over the years, they've built real wealth. No flashy cars, no lottery wins, no viral business. But today, they're debt-free, their investments are growing, and they're not stressed about money anymore. Meanwhile, you've been working just as hard, maybe harder, and it still feels like you're stuck in the same place financially. Let me be honest. This gap is not about luck, and it's definitely not about income alone. There's a silent shift happening right now, where a part of the middle class is quietly getting richer, while another part is falling further behind. And the difference comes down to a few simple habits, decisions, and mistakes that most people don't even notice. If you're over 35, because at this stage, time is no longer on your side. But the good news is, once you see what's really happening, you can change your trajectory faster than you think. Most people in their late 30s, 40s, even 50s feel like they should be settled financially by now. Stable job, some savings, maybe a house. But reality feels different. Expenses are higher than ever. Kids' education, healthcare, EMIs, insurance, daily living. And despite earning more than you did in your 20s, it still feels like money disappears faster. You're not alone. Most people don't realize this, but income growth without financial strategy creates an illusion of progress. You feel like you're moving forward, but you're actually standing still, or worse, slowly falling behind. Now here's where the quiet wealth builders are different. They don't just earn more, they manage money differently. Let me show you what that actually looks like. Imagine two people, same age, both 42, both earning around $90,000 a year. Let's call them Mark and David. Mark lives a comfortable life. Nice car, upgraded phone every year, vacations on credit cards. He saves whatever is left at the end of the month. David looks similar on the outside, but behind the scenes, he does something very different. Every time his income increased, even slightly, he increased his investments first, not his lifestyle. This is the first quiet habit. Most people increase their lifestyle with every raise. Better car, bigger house, more subscriptions, more eating out. It feels deserved. You worked hard, right? But here's the mistake. Your expenses grow faster than your assets. So, even though your income rises, your net worth barely moves. David made a different choice. When he got a raise, he pretended it didn't exist. He increased his retirement contributions, put more into index funds, paid down his mortgage faster. He still enjoyed life, but he controlled the upgrades. The result? After 10 years, Mark is still paycheck to paycheck. David has a six-figure investment portfolio. Same income, different decisions. The practical tip here is simple. Every time your income increases, even by 5%, lock in at least half of that increase into investments. Do it automatically, before you get used to spending it. This one habit alone can completely change your financial future. Now, let's talk about something most people avoid. Debt. Not all debt is bad, but the way most people use it is where the problem begins. Let me give you a real-life scenario. Sarah, 45. She has a stable job, but she carries multiple debts. Car loan, credit card balances, personal loan from a few years ago. Nothing extreme individually, but together, they eat up a big chunk of her monthly income. She keeps telling herself, "I'll pay it off soon." But interest keeps building quietly. This is the second major mistake. People underestimate the long-term impact of manageable debt. It doesn't feel urgent because you can make the minimum payments, but it's silently slowing your wealth growth. Now compare this to someone like James. Same income bracket, but he made one aggressive decision in his late 30s. He prioritized becoming debt-free. cut back spending for a few years, redirected bonuses and extra income into clearing loans. It wasn't comfortable, but today, his monthly cash flow is completely different. No interest payments, no financial stress, and that extra money, it goes straight into investments. Most people don't realize this, but eliminating debt is one of the fastest ways to build wealth. Because you're not just saving money, you're freeing future income. Here's what you can do. List all your debts. Start with the highest interest one. Attack it aggressively. Even small extra payments make a big difference over time. Don't wait for the perfect time. The longer you delay, the more it costs you. Now let's talk about something even more subtle, where your money actually sits. A lot of people in the middle class do save money. That's not the issue. The issue is where they keep it. Let me explain. You've probably heard this before. Keep money in the bank. Stay safe. Sounds responsible. But here's the problem. Inflation is quietly reducing the value of that money every single year. So even though your bank balance looks stable, your purchasing power is shrinking. This is the third mistake. Confusing saving with growing. Let me give you a simple example. If you keep $50,000 in a low-interest account for 10 years, it might grow slightly, but inflation could reduce its real value significantly. Meanwhile, someone who invested consistently in diversified assets, stocks, index funds, retirement accounts, sees that money grow over time. Not overnight, but steadily. People who are quietly getting rich understand this. They don't just save, they invest, and they do it consistently. Even during market ups and downs, they don't try to time everything perfectly. They stay in the game. Now, I'm not saying take risky bets. I'm saying understand the difference between idle money and working money. Here's a practical step. If most of your savings are sitting in a low-interest account, start moving a portion into long-term investments. Even 10-20% is a good start. Build gradually. The key is consistency, not perfection. Let me tell you something important. None of these strategies are complicated. There's no secret formula, no hidden trick. Just disciplined decisions, repeated over time. But most people don't follow through. Why? Because the results are slow at first, and humans are wired to chase quick rewards. That's where the quiet wealth builders are different. They stay patient. They trust the process. And over time, the gap becomes massive. Now here's the part most people don't want to hear, because it's uncomfortable. And we'll get into that in the next part. But before that, think about your own situation for a second. Are you increasing your lifestyle faster than your investments? Are you carrying debt that's quietly draining your future? Is your money sitting or actually growing? These are not small questions. They determine where you'll be financially 10 years from now. And the truth is, you still have time to change direction. You just need to start seeing money differently. Let me be honest. This is where things get uncomfortable. Because most people don't fail financially due to lack of income. They fail because of habits that feel normal, even responsible, but quietly hold them back for years. And the hardest part? These habits don't look like mistakes in the moment. They feel safe. They feel justified. But over time, they create a gap that becomes very difficult to close. Let's talk about the next pattern, the one almost nobody pays attention to. How people think about risk. Take someone like Linda, 48. She's careful with money. Always has been. She saves regularly. Avoids unnecessary spending. Keeps a solid emergency fund. On the surface, she's doing everything right. But here's the problem. She avoids investing because she's afraid of losing money. So most of her savings stay in fixed deposits, savings accounts, low-return instruments. It feels safe. No volatility. No stress. But over the last 15 years, her money hasn't really grown. Now compare that with someone like Robert. Same age, similar income, but he understands something different. He knows that avoiding all risk is actually a bigger risk because inflation, taxes, and time quietly eat away at idle money. So he takes calculated risks. He invests in diversified funds. He doesn't panic during market drops. He doesn't chase hype either. He stays consistent. And because of that, his money compounds. Most people don't realize this, but there are two types of risk: losing money in the short term and losing opportunity in the long term. And the second one is far more dangerous. Here's the common mistake. People wait for the perfect time to invest, when the market feels safe, when everything looks stable. But by then, most opportunities are already priced in. The practical solution? Start small. Start simple. You don't need to understand everything on day one. Even a basic index fund, held consistently, can outperform years of hesitation. The goal is not to eliminate risk. The goal is to manage it intelligently. Now let's talk about something that hits even closer to home: financial visibility, or more accurately, the lack of it. Let me explain. There's a couple, Mike and Susan, both in their early 50s. Good combined income. Household runs smoothly. Bills are paid. Lifestyle is comfortable. But when asked a simple question, how much do you actually spend every month? They hesitate. They estimate. They guess. And they're usually wrong. This is more common than you think. People track income. They don't track outflow with the same clarity. And that creates a blind spot. A big one. Because small, unnoticed expenses, subscriptions, impulse purchases, lifestyle creep, quietly stack up, month after month, year after year. Now compare that with someone like Daniel. He's not extreme. He still enjoys life. But he tracks his numbers, not obsessively, but clearly. He knows where his money goes. He reviews it regularly. And because of that, he catches leaks early, adjusts quickly, and keeps more of what he earns. Most people don't realize this. But awareness alone can improve your financial situation without increasing income, without cutting everything you enjoy. Just by paying attention, here's something practical you can do. For the next 30 days, track every expense. Not roughly, exactly. Use an app, use a notebook. Doesn't matter. Just make it visible. At the end of the month, review it. You will notice patterns you didn't expect. And once you see them, you can control them. Now, let's talk about something even more critical and often ignored: time. Not just how long you work, but how long your money works. Let me explain. There's a huge difference between starting at 30 and starting at 45, even if the amount invested is the same. Because compounding needs time, and time is the one thing you cannot recover. Let me give you a simple scenario. Two individuals. One starts investing $500 a month at 30. The other starts the same at 45. Same investment, same discipline. But the one who started earlier ends up with significantly more, not because they invested more money, but because their money had more time to grow. Now here's the uncomfortable truth. If you're already in your 40s or 50s, you don't have the luxury of waiting anymore. But that doesn't mean it's too late. It means your strategy needs to be sharper, more intentional, more focused. The mistake most people make at this stage: they either panic or procrastinate. They feel like they're behind, so they avoid looking at their finances altogether, or they take extreme risks trying to catch up quickly. Both are dangerous. What works? Instead, clarity and consistency. Know your numbers. Set realistic targets. Increase contributions where possible. And stay disciplined. Even small, consistent actions can create meaningful results over the next 10-15 years. Now here's something most people don't talk about: the emotional side of money. Because money decisions are rarely just logical. They're emotional. Fear, comparison, pressure, ego. Let me be honest. A lot of financial mistakes come from trying to keep up with others. Friends upgrading homes, colleagues buying new cars, social media showing a version of success that looks effortless. And slowly, you start adjusting your lifestyle to match, even if it doesn't align with your financial reality. This is one of the most silent wealth killers because it doesn't feel like a mistake. It feels like progress. But it's not your progress. It's borrowed expectations. Now compare that with people who are quietly building wealth. They don't compete publicly. They don't chase every upgrade. They make decisions based on their goals, not someone else's timeline. That's a huge difference. Here's a simple mental shift. Before any major expense, ask yourself one question. Is this improving my financial future or just my image today? That one question can stop a lot of unnecessary decisions. Now let's pause for a second. Look at everything we've covered so far. Lifestyle inflation, debt, idle savings, avoiding investment risk, lack of financial awareness, emotional spending. None of these are dramatic mistakes. But together, they create a system where money flows out faster than it grows. And that's exactly why some people stay stuck without realizing why, while others quietly move ahead. In the next part, we're going to talk about a hard reality most people ignore and the exact steps you can start taking immediately to shift your financial direction. Because knowing the problem is one thing, fixing it is where everything changes. Now, let me be very direct with you, because this is the part most people avoid thinking about, not because it's complicated, but because it forces you to confront reality. If you continue managing money the same way you have for the last 10 years, you already know where you're headed. Nothing dramatically changes. Income might go up a little. Expenses will go up too. And slowly, quietly, your financial pressure stays the same or increases. That's the harsh truth. Most people don't have a money problem. They have a direction problem. They're moving, but not toward anything specific. And when there's no clear direction, even good income gets wasted. Let me give you a simple example. Tom Styritzachest. He's worked consistently for over 20 years, earns well, provides for his family, but he never defined a financial target. No retirement number, no investment goal, no timeline. So every decision he made was short-term, whatever felt right at the moment. Now today, he's unsure. How much do I actually need to retire? Am I on track? Can I slow down in the next 10 years? And the honest answer is, he doesn't know. This is more common than you think. Now, compare that with someone like Andrew. Similar background, but in his early 40s, he did something different. He sat down and got clarity. He calculated roughly how much he would need for retirement. He looked at his current savings, estimated future contributions, and created a simple plan. Nothing fancy, just a direction. Now every financial decision he makes connects to that plan. He knows why he's investing. He knows how much he needs to invest. And most importantly, he knows if he's on track. Most people don't realize this, but clarity reduces financial stress more than income increases, because uncertainty is what creates anxiety, not just lack of money. Here's something you can do right now. Take a rough estimate. How much money would you need to live comfortably for 20-25 years without working? Don't overcomplicate it. Just a starting number. Then ask yourself, where am I today compared to that? This one exercise can completely change how you look at money. Now let's talk about something even more practical. Income alone will not make you wealthy. Let me repeat that. Income alone will not make you wealthy. Because income stops when you stop working. Wealth continues. And the difference between the two is assets. Let me explain. There are people earning 6 figures, still stressed about money. And there are people earning less, but financially secure. The difference? Assets that generate income, investments, rental properties, dividends, retirement accounts, things that continue working even when you don't. Here's the mistake most people make. They rely entirely on active income, salary, business income, freelancing, which is fine, but incomplete. Because if something interrupts that income, everything else is affected. Now compare that with someone who gradually builds assets over time. even small ones. A growing investment portfolio, a side income stream, something that adds even a few $100s a month. At first, it doesn't seem like much, but over time, it reduces pressure, creates flexibility, and eventually, options. That's what wealth really gives you. Option, not just more things. Most people don't realize this, but the goal is not just to earn more. It's to depend less on earning. That's a completely different mindset. Here's a simple step. Start thinking in terms of income streams, not just one. Even if you begin with something small, the goal is to shift from 100% dependence on one source to multiple sources over time. Now let's address something very important, because this is where many people go wrong when they finally decide to fix their finances. They try to do everything at once, cut all expenses, invest aggressively, change everything overnight, and within a few months, they burn out, go back to old habits, and feel even more frustrated. Let me be honest, that approach doesn't work. Consistency beats intensity every single time. The people who quietly build wealth are not extreme. They are consistent. They make manageable changes and stick to them year after year. That's it. Let me give you a practical way to approach this. Instead of trying to change everything, focus on 3 areas: your savings rate, your debt, and your investments. That's it. If you improve just these 3, even gradually, your financial situation will improve. Now, here's how it can look. Increase your savings rate by even 5%. Pay a little extra toward debt every month. Invest consistently, even if the amount feels small. That's enough to create momentum. And momentum is powerful. Because once you see progress, you stay motivated. Now let's talk about something people rarely connect to money: time freedom. Because at the end of the day, that's what most people actually want. Not just more money, but more control over their time. The ability to choose when to work, how much to work, when to step back, when to say no. But here's the truth. If you don't build financial strength early enough, your future choices become limited. You're forced to keep working, whether you want to or not. And that's a difficult place to be, especially later in life. Now think about the people who are quietly getting rich. They're not just building money. They're building freedom, step by step, decision by decision. And most of it happens in silence. No announcements, no big moments, just steady progress. Now, before we move forward, I want you to reflect on something. Where are you right now? Not emotionally, not based on what others are doing, but factually. Your income, your savings, your debt, your investments, your direction. Because once you're honest about where you are, you can actually start moving forward. In the next part, we're going to break this down into simple action steps. Things you can start doing immediately. No complexity, no overwhelm. Just clear, practical moves that put you back in control of your money. Now let's bring everything together. Because information without action doesn't change anything. You've seen the patterns. You've seen the mistakes. And more importantly, you've seen what the people who are quietly getting rich are doing differently. Now the question is simple. What are you going to do next? Let me be honest. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to understand every financial concept. You just need to start making better decisions consistently. So let's make this practical. Step 1. Get clarity on your current situation. Not roughly, not in your head. On paper, write down your total income, your monthly expenses, your debts, your savings, your investments, everything. Most people avoid this step because they're afraid of what they might see. But let me tell you something important. Clarity is not your enemy. It's your starting point. Once you see the numbers clearly, you stop guessing. And when you stop guessing, you start making better decisions. Step 2. Create a simple system for your money. Not complicated, just structured. Divide your income into 3 parts. Essentials, Future and lifestyle. Essentials cover your needs. Future is your savings, investments, and debt repayment. Lifestyle is everything else. And here's the key. Pay your future first, not last. Even if it's a small percentage right now, make it automatic. Because what gets automated gets done. Step 3. Control lifestyle inflation. This is where most people lose control without realizing it. Every time your income increases, pause. Don't upgrade immediately. Give it time. Decide consciously what actually needs to change and what doesn't. Because every unnecessary upgrade today is future freedom you're giving away. Step 4. Start investing and stay consistent. Not perfect. Consistent. You don't need to time the market. You don't need to chase trends. You need to stay invested. Month after month, year after year. Because wealth is built in the waiting, not in the excitement. Step 5. Reduce and eliminate high-interest debt. This is non-negotiable because every dollar you pay in interest is a dollar that could have built your future. Be aggressive here, even if it means temporary sacrifices, because once that burden is gone, your financial life becomes lighter instantly. Now here's the reality check. No one is coming to fix your finances. No company, no government, no sudden opportunity. It's on you. And that might sound harsh, but it's actually empowering because it means you're in control. Your decisions today shape your next 10, 15, 20 years. And the gap between struggle and stability is often smaller than it looks. It's not about earning double. It's about managing better. Let me say something very clearly. You are not behind, but you cannot afford to stay unaware. That's the difference. The people who are quietly getting rich are not doing extraordinary things. They're doing ordinary things, extraordinarily consistently. That's it. No noise, no shortcuts, just discipline. Now imagine this. 5 years from now, you have no high-interest debt. Your investments are growing steadily. You understand your money clearly. And you're not stressed every time an unexpected expense shows up. That life is possible. Not instantly, but predictably, if you start now. So don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait until you feel ready. Because readiness comes from action, not the other way around. Start small, stay consistent, and give it time. Now, before you go, I want to hear from you. What is the one financial habit you know you need to fix right now? Comment below. Be honest, because awareness is the first step. And if this video made you think differently about money, share it with someone who needs to hear this. And subscribe to the channel, because we're not chasing hype here. We're building real financial clarity, step by step. And that's how real wealth is created.